वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादान् कृष्णकृष्णाय भूतले श्रीमते सारस्वते अनुपचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत वेदांत श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्रार्थी पीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलौकिक दिग्प्रदा सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वान् दूतिकादित्य श्री कृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्षक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्री कृष्णाय नमोस्तुमे मतेक बंधो मत्संगिन मद्गुरो मन्महाधना मन्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते साधु साधुतादाय नाति चोच्चताकर मानवंज कदाचिन् मां प्रेमणा हृत्कण्ठयो स्फुर। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। 24 ऊरु सुपर्ण हृदयोरधिशोभमाना ओजो निधि अतसिका कुसुमावभासौ व्यालं विपीतवरवाससि वर्तमान कांची कलाप परिरंभिनितंब बिंबम. Next, the yogi should fix his mind in meditation on the personality of God, its thighs, the storehouse of all energy. The Lord's thighs are whitish blue, like the luster of the linseed flower, and appear most graceful when the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Also, the yogi should contemplate his rounded hips, which are encircled by a girdle that rests on the exquisite yellow silk cloth that extends down to his ankles. Vrajantam dhyayet ityuktam. It was stated that one should meditate on him while he is moving about. Ataha पृथु ध्रुव आदिभ्यः वरं दातुं गच्छतः गरुड आरूढस्य हरेः ऊरुद्वयं हृदि कुर्यात्. Therefore, one should place the thighs of Lord Hari in one's heart when he has climbed on Garuda and he is going to bestow benedictions upon Prithu Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and so on. Bhujayor adhi upari skanthayoh ityarthaha. When the Lord is carried on the shoulders of Garuda. Nitamba bimbam nitamba mandalam. The yogi should contemplate his rounded hips also. The personality of Godhead is a reservoir of all strength, and his strength rests on the thighs of his transcendental body. His whole body is full of opulences, all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. The yogi is advised to meditate upon the transcendental form of the Lord, beginning from the soles of the feet and then gradually rising to the knees, to the thighs, and finally arriving at the face. The system of meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead begins from his feet. The description of the transcendental form of the Lord is exactly represented in the Archa Vigraha, the statue of the temple, statue in the temples. Generally, the lower part of the body of the statue of the Lord is covered with yellow silk. That is the Vaikuntha dress, or the dress the Lord wears in the spiritual sky. This cloth extends down to the Lord's ankles. Thus, since the yogi has so many transcendental objectives on which to meditate, there is no reason for his meditating on something imaginary, as is the practice of the so-called yogis whose objective is impersonal. 25. Nabhihradam bhuvana kosha guhodarastham yatratmayonidhishana kila loka padmam vyudham harim manimrishas vyudham harinmani vrishastanayoramushya dhyayedvayam vishadahara mayukha gauram. The yogi should then meditate on his moon-like navel in the center of his abdomen. From his navel, which is the foundation of the entire universe, sprang the lotus stem containing all the different planetary systems. The lotus is the residence of Brahma, the first created being. In the same way, the yogi should concentrate his mind on the Lord's nipples, which resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds and which appear red or whitish because of the rays of the milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. Garbhodashayinah nabhihridam dhyayet. One should meditate on the navel lake of Lord Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Bhuvananam koshasya samuhasya guha adhishtanam yadudaram. It is from his tatrasthita. His navel is situated on his abdomen, which itself is the foundation of the entirety of the worldly planetary systems. What is this here? Yatra Atma. Okay. So here, let me just type it once again. Yatra Atmayoni Dhishanam Dhishunyam Akhilokatmakam Padmam Vyudham Uthitam. And it is from that naval lake that the lotus, which itself contains the various all the various planetary systems, and which is the seat of the self-born Brahma, has come about. Tatha harin mani vrishau marakata mani shreshthau iva yau chakrika kriti sthanau tayo dvayam. Harin mani varnaha vrishaha dharma yatra tatha bhutayo stanaha saniyoho iti va. And the Lord's nipples are also being described. They resemble a pair of most exquisite emeralds. Which are disc-shaped. So Dakshina Sanasya Dharmatvat Vishadanam Haranam Mayukhaihi Gauram Shvetamiti Dakshinasthanopari Dakshinavarta Shveta Shrivatsa Sarekhamapi Hara Kantimiva Dhyayet Ityapi Suchitam Dhyaya. And then he has this milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. Now, this milk white, this refers to above his right nipple. There is a white Srivatsa marking, rounded Srivatsa marking, tilting to the right. So one should meditate on that as if it is the rays of the milk white pearl necklaces adorning his chest. That is indicated here. The yogi is advised next to meditate upon the navel of the Lord, which is the foundation of all material creation. Just as a child is connected to his mother by the umbilical cord, so the firstborn living creature, Brahma, by the supreme will of the Lord, is connected to the Lord by a lotus stem. In the previous verse, it was stated that the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who engages in massaging the legs, ankles, and thighs of the Lord, is called the mother of Brahma. But actually, Brahma is born from the abdomen of the Lord, not from the abdomen of his mother. These are inconceivable conceptions of the Lord. One should not think materially. How can the father give birth to a child? It is explained in the Brahma Samhita that each limb of the Lord has the potency of every other limb. Because everything is spiritual, his parts are not conditioned. The Lord can see with his ears. The material ear can hear but cannot see. But we understand from the Brahma Samhita that the Lord can also see with his ears and hear with his eyes. Any organ of his transcendental body can function as any other organ. His abdomen is the foundation of all the planetary systems. Brahma holds the post of the creator of all planetary systems, but his engineering energy is generated from the abdomen of the Lord. The necklace of pearls, which decorates the upper portion of the Lord's body, is also spiritual, and therefore the yogi is advised to gaze at the whitish luster of the pearls decorating his chest. 26. Vakshothivasamऋषभस्य महाविभूते पुंसां मनोनयननिर्वृतिमादधानं कंठं च कौस्तुभमणेरधिभूषणार्थं कुर्यान् मनस्यखिललोकनमस्कृतस्य. The yogi should then meditate on the chest of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the abode of Goddess Mahalakshmi. The Lord's chest is the source of all transcendental pleasure for the mind and full satisfaction for the eyes. The yogi should then imprint on his mind the neck of the personality of Godhead, who is adorned by the entire universe. The neck of the Lord serves to enhance the beauty of the Kaustubha gem, which hangs on his chest. Mahavibhuteः Mahalakshmyaः अधिकः वामभागे वासः यत्र एतादृशं वक्षः मनसि कुर्यात्. Goddess Mahalakshmi, she is the goddess of fortune. She resides on the left part of the Lord's chest. That chest should be placed in the mind of the meditator. That means he should meditate on the mind of, the chest of the Supreme Lord. Kaustubhamanairapi adhikam bhushanam prayojanam yasya. Kaustubhamanairapi yena bhushitah syat tam kantham cha iti artha. The neck of the Lord is more important than the decoration on that neck. In other words, the Kaustubha Mani, which is that decoration on the Lord's neck, that itself is decorated by the beauty of that neck of the Lord. In the Upanishads, it is said that the various energies of the Lord are working to create, destroy, and maintain. These inconceivable varieties of energy are stored in the bosom of the Lord. As people generally say, God is all powerful. That prowess is represented by Mahalakshmi, the reservoir of all energies, who is situated on the bosom of the transcendental form of the Lord. The yogi who can meditate perfectly on that spot, on the transcendental form of the Lord, can derive many material powers which comprise the 8 perfections of the yoga system. It is stated here that the beauty of the neck of the Lord enhances the beauty of the Kaustubha gem rather than vice versa. The gem itself becomes more beautiful because it is situated on the neck of the Lord. A yogi is therefore recommended to meditate upon the Lord's neck. The Lord's transcendental form can either be meditated upon in the mind or placed in a temple in the form of a statue and decorated in such a way that everyone can contemplate it. Temple worship is therefore meant for persons who are not so advanced that they can meditate upon the form of the Lord. There is no difference between constantly visiting the temple and directly seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. They are of equal value. The advantageous position of the yogi is that he can sit anywhere in a solitary place and meditate upon the form of the Lord. A less advanced person, however, has to go to the temple. And as long as he does not go to the temple, he is unable to see the form of the Lord. So, either by hearing, seeing, or meditating, the objective is the transcendental form of the Lord. There is no question of voidness or impersonalism. The Lord can bestow the blessings of transcendental pleasure upon either the visitor of the temple, the meditator yogi, or one who hears about the Lord's transcendental form from scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. There are 9 processes for executing devotional service, of which smaranam or meditation is one. Yogis take advantage of the process of smaranam, whereas bhakti yogis take special advantage of the process of hearing and chanting. 27. बाहुंश्च मन्दरगिरेः परिवर्तनेन निर्णिक्तबाहुवलयानधिलोकपालान् दशशतारमसख्यतेजः शङ्खं च तत्करसरोरुहराजहंसम्. The yogi should further meditate upon the Lord's four arms, which are the source of all the powers of the demigods who control the various functions of material nature. Then the yogi should concentrate on the polished ornaments which were burnished by Mount Mandara as it revolved. Burnished means polished. He should also duly contemplate the Lord's discus, the Sudarshana Chakra, which contains 1000 spokes and a dazzling luster, as well as the conch, which looks like a swan in his lotus-like palm. Samudram mathnataha harer bahun chintayet. One should meditate on the Lord's four arms, Lord Hari's four arms, while the churning of the milk ocean took place. Nirniktani, ujjali kritani, bahu valayani, angada adini cha yeshu tani. And those arms, they have armlets and other ornaments which are polished. Adhikrita bhakta lokapala bhavanti yebhyah tan. Adhilokapala. It is because of those ornaments that you have these officiating protectors of the various directions who are all devotees of the Lord. In other words, they are dependent on the arms of the Lord. Vaikuntanathasya bhagavataha chaturshu hasteshu chakra adi astra chatushkam malam kaustubam cha smaredityaha sanchintayed iti sarthena. Then in 1.5 verses, beginning with the word sanchintaye, he says that one should meditate upon the 4 items, 4 weapons such as the discus, as well as the garland or necklace, as well as the kaustubha. Shankachakra Gadabadma are held in his 4 hands. So this kind of meditation on these items that belong to Bhagavan Vaikunthanatha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is a Lord of Vaikuntha, should be executed. This kind of meditation should be executed. Dasha Shataram Chakram, the Lord's discus, contains 1000 spokes. All departments of law and order emanate from the arms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The law and order of the universe is directed by different demigods, and it is here said to emanate from the Lord's arms. Mandara hell is mentioned here because when the ocean was churned by the demons on one side and the demigods on the other, Mandara hill was taken as the churning rod. The Lord in his tortoise incarnation became the pivot for the churning rod, and thus his ornaments were polished by the turning of Mandara hill. In other words, the ornaments on the arms of the Lord are as brilliant and lustrous as if they had been polished very recently. The wheel in the hand of the Lord, called the Sudarshan Chakra, has 1000 spokes. The yogi is advised to meditate upon each of the spokes. You should meditate upon each and every one of the component parts of the transcendental form of the Lord. That is the point. Amongst the Vaishnavas, they have written about the glories of different parts of the transcendental form of the Lord, or the items carried by him. Vedanta Deshika himself wrote 1000 verses on the lotus feet of the Lord, Paduka Sahasram. And he also composed 8 verses on the Sudarshan Chakra, Sudarshanashtaka. So like that, different parts of the Lord's transcendental form are actually meditated upon by the Vaishnava devotees. 28. Kaumodakim Bhagavato Yitam Smare Digdham Arati Bhatashonita Karmadena Kardamena Mala Madhu Vratavarutha Giropaghushtam Chaityasya Tattvam Manimasya Kanthe. The yogi should meditate upon his club, which is named Kaumodaki and is very dear to him. This club smashes the demons who are always inimical soldiers and is smeared with their blood. One should also concentrate on the nice garland on the neck of the Lord, which is always surrounded by bumblebees with their nice buzzing sound, and one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. Digdham, liptam, smeared. The club, Kaumo, the key, is smeared with the blood of the demons. Upaghushtam, Naditam. Gira, Upaghushtam. Then garland on the neck of the Lord is surrounded by bumblebees. The nice buzzing sounds of the bumblebees. Sounded. Upaghushtam should be sounded, actually, not surrounded. Be sounded by the sound. It is the cause of that sound, that much we can say, because it attracts the bumblebees which buzz. Chitte bhavati avirbhavati iti chaitya shabdena sarvatra yadyapi paramatma eva uchyate tadapi atra tat shaktitva jivatma eva uchyate. The pearl necklace on the Lord's neck is considered to represent the pure living entities. Even though the word chaitya refers to the Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, because the Super Soul reveals himself in the Chitta, the consciousness. Chitta can be understood to be, just as there is false ego and true ego, Chitta can be understood to be consciousness. But here, the word Chaitya refers to the Jivatma. Therefore, Chaityasya means of the living entity, which is considered to represent the pure living entities. Because the Jiva who's present in the Chitta of the embodied souls is actually a part of the Jiva Shakti, belongs to the Jiva Shakti of the Supreme Lord. Taduktam Vaishnave, that is stated in the Vishnu Purana. Atmanam asya jagato nirlepam aguna malam vibharti kaustubhamani swarupam bhagavan harihi. Kaustubhasya eva anantah kiranaha jivaha iti bhava. The idea is that the Atma itself is maintained by the Kaustubhamani. It is from the Kaustubha that unlimited rays in the form of the Jivas emanate. This is indicated here. 1 minute, let me see. further. 26, 27, 28. Chaityasya tattva amalam. How about this? Siddhanta explains it. Amalam chaityasya jivasya tattvam manimcha smari. One should meditate on the pure nature of the jiva, the pure spotless nature of the jiva, which is present in the chitta, as well as the Kaustubha Mani. The Supreme Personality of God is Sri Hari. He is he holds, he wears this Kaustubha Mani, which is uncontaminated, just beyond the modes of material nature, just pure, and which sustains the souls of the universe. The yogi must contemplate on the different parts of the transcendental body of the Lord. Here it is stated that the constitutional position of the living entity should be understood. There are two kinds of living entities mentioned here. One is called Arati. They are averse to understanding the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arati, of the enemies, inimical. They are averse to understanding the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For them, the Lord appears with his hand clutching the terrible mace, which is always smeared with blood stains from his killing of demons. Demons are also sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, all the different species of living entities are sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are, however, two classes of living entities who act in two different ways. The Lord keeps on his neck those living entities who are pure, as one protects the jewels and pearls on the bosom and neck of one's body. Those living entities in pure Krishna consciousness are symbolized by the pearls on his neck. Those who are demons and are inimical towards the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are punished by his mace, which is always smeared with the blood of such fallen living entities. The club of the Lord is very dear to him because he uses this instrument to smash the bodies of the demons and mix their blood. As mud is kneaded with water and earth, so the earthly bodies of the enemies of the Lord or the atheists are smashed by the club of the Lord, which becomes muddied with the blood of such demons. 29. धृत्यानुकम्पितधियेह गृहीतमूर्तेः सञ्चिन्तयेद् भगवतो वदनारविन्दम् यद्विस्फुरन् मकरकुण्डलवल्गितेन विद्योतितामलकपोलम् उदारणासम्. The yogi should then meditate on the lotus-like countenance of the Lord, which presents its different forms in this world out of compassion for the anxious devotees. His nose is prominent, and his crystal clear checks are illuminated by the oscillation of his glittering alligator-shaped earrings. Question.
Prabhu, I just want to confirm one thought in my mind. Like nowadays, there is a trend. People say that parents should not punish their naughty children. Even if they are wrongdoing, they should correct them lovingly, not by beating them. So Lord is punishing the demons by smashing their bodies. So one may object that no, he should have corrected them lovingly instead of just killing straight away.
How do you lovingly correct a terrorist?
Can we say that Lord's punishment and killing is also unique? Like yesterday you were saying, it is unlike the punishment in modern world.
Point. Now, how do you lovingly punish a terrorist? Somebody who puts a bomb in the schools and loves to see fifth standard children die. These people should be killed. In fact, they should be killed in a very violent manner so that people will be terrified to inflict harm on innocent souls.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Prabhu.
Proper it is. People should be frightened to inflict harm. They should be terrified of trying to kill others and so on. That is love for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord descends to the material world. Okay, where are we? This is 29. Okay, 29. Anukampa, Sanjat. Okay, wait. This is, let me read out the Anvaya. This is a little bit involved. So I'll read the Anvaya, then I'll read the Anuvad, and then afterwards I'll come to Sarvatha Dashini. Bhrityanukampita dhiya, Bhrityeshu anukampita, krita anukampa, ya dhihi, तया इह गृहीतमूर्तेः गृहीता प्रकटिता मूर्तिः येन तस्य भगवतः विस्फुरन् मकरकुण्डलवल्गितेन विस्फुरन्ति ये मकरकुण्डलानि कुण्डले तयोः वल्गितेन प्रचलनेन विद्योतित अमल कपोलं विद्योतितौ अमलौ कपोलौ यस्मिन् तत् उदारनासम् उदारा उन्नता नासा यस्मिन् तत् च यत् वदनारविन्दं tat sanchintayet. One should meditate on the lotus face of the Lord. That lotus face of the Lord has a raised nose. It has spotless and shining foreheads. They shine because of the alligator shaped earrings that glitter is the right word, and they move about here and there. So because of that, his forehead is also the illumination reaches all over his lotus face. So this Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has revealed his transcendental form, and he has done this out of an attitude of compassion for his servants. Being his servants, they like to see him, meditate upon him. Sri Bhagavan Bhritya Dikya Anukampa Kurite Ichha Kuriya Tahar Nitya Swarup Shri Vigraha Prapanche Prakat Kuriya Thaken. Sri Bhagavan, he manifests, continually manifests his sacred eternal form in this material world out of a desire to bestow compassion upon his servants, his dependent servants. Bhakti yogi sei bhakta vancha kalpataru shri harir vadana kamal samyak rupe bhavana kariben. The bhakti yogi should completely meditate upon the lotus face of Sri Hari, which is nothing but a vancha kalpataru for his devotees. It is a desire fulfilling tree for his devotees. Say Sri Harir Mukha Kamal, Atishai Deeptiman, Makar Kundal Doyer, Sanchalane, Ujjwal, Sukomal, Gandasthal, O उन्नत नासिका युक्त হইয়া উহা কি অপূর্ব শোভায় ধারণ করিয়া থাকেন, and his lotus face that exhibits an unprecedented beauty because it contains two tender cheeks which are shining because of the glittering of the Makara Kundalas, and also he has a raised nose. Anukampa sanjatasya. Sanjata asya iti anukampita tarkaditvat itvach tarkaditvat tvach tarkaditvat tvach. Okay. यद्वा अनुकंपितम अनुकंपा कृपा तदात्मिका तन्मयी वा याधीः तया स्ववासार्थं गृहीता मूर्तिः यस्य. So the Supreme Lord is in possession of compassion. ते मत्स्वरूप शक्ति सारभूते अनुकंपे इह मर्त्यलोके मन्मूर्तिषु मध्ये याम इच्छसि ताम स्वनिर्भर निवासार्थम गृहाण इति उक्त्वे इति उक्ते तया विविच्य मकरकुण्डलयोः वल्लनं खलु पार्श्वद्वयस्थपार्षदसञ्चालितचामर हेतुकेन शिरः कम्पेन वा सहचरी गण नृत्यगीतवाद्यताल तान आदि आस्वादन साधुत्व ख्यापन हेतुकया ग्रीवाभङ्ग्या वा ज्ञेयम्. The idea is that he has accepted this compassion as something which is going to reside in his form. One should meditate upon the Supreme Lord, for whom compassion is intrinsic. In fact, the Supreme Lord himself thinks, "Oh, my dear compassion, you are the essence of my personal potency. I exhibit various forms in material existence in the world of the mortals, and you can stay in whichever form that you want. Accept them." And the idea is that all of the different forms that the Supreme Lord manifests, transcendental forms that he manifests in material existence, they're filled with that compassion. And it appears that compassion itself has accepted these forms of the Lord. See, the idea is that the Supreme Lord himself, he sports in the hearts of his pure devotees. And he becomes very much eager to bestow his blessings upon his pure devotees. And that is, in fact, the reason why he manifests these sweet, transcendental, eternal forms within this material world. And it is actually because of his compassion for them. It's not Vallana, it's Valgana. The Makara Kundalas. Makara Kundalas means the alligator shaped earrings that are on the two sides. They move about. They move about here and there because his associates, they fan him with chamara whisks, which cause the earrings of the Lord to move about. They also move about because of the mild breezes that are there in Vaikuntha. Also, other reasons why the Makara Kundalas, they move about. because his associates, they dance, they sing, they play musical instruments, and they clap their hands, and they, uh, according to the musical beats and so on. So then at that time, when the Lord moves his neck and so on, while appreciating all of these services, at that time also his earrings move about here and there. His cupola, his forehead, they are also very tender. So one should meditate on the Lord's lotus face. That is the idea. Malayati kapolo yo saramani darpanaya manatu. His forehead itself, uh, they are like reflecting surfaces. In Vedic culture, they had different types of mirrors. In the modern world, we have a certain concept of what is a mirror. But in Vedic civilization, they had different types of mirrors made out of different jewels or gems, different reflecting substances. So here he's pointing out that his foreheads, they themselves are like excellent gems which make up those mirrors. तयोश्चलन् मकरकुण्डलद्वय प्रतिबिम्बेन नटन्तौ नयनखञ्जनौ नृत्य उपाध्यायौ. And by the reflection of the Makara his eyes, lotus eyes, they seem to be dancing. Nritya Upadhyaya, they seem to be teachers of dance. Bhutva Swatala Sthalam Ayatam Makara Chatushtayam Nartayata iti Iva iti Utprakshagamya. So in that way, 4 sharks seem to be dancing for them, for those who are watching with devotion and relishing the Lord's face. Udara Nasam, Unnata Nasikam. His nose is raised. Udaro Datri Mahatoriti Abhidana Nasikaya Tad Aswadana Sabhyatvena Sarvasva Datritvam. So his Nasika, his nose is raised. It is big. As if it is relishing the lotus of the face. The Lord descends to the material world out of his deep compassion for his devotees. There are 2 reasons for the Lord's appearance or incarnation in the material world. Whenever there is a discrepancy in the discharge of religious principles and there is prominence of irreligion, the Lord descends for the protection of the devotees and the destruction of the non-devotees. When he appears, his main purpose is to give solace to his devotees. He does not have to come himself to destroy the demons, for he has many agents. Even the external energy, Maya, has sufficient strength to kill them. But when he comes to show compassion to his devotees, he kills the non-devotees as a matter of course. The Lord appears in the particular form loved by a particular type of devotee. There are millions of forms of the Lord, but they are one absolute. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Advaitam Achyutam Anadam Ananta Rupam, all the different forms of the Lord are one, but some devotees want to see him in the form of Radha and Krishna. Others prefer him as Sita and Ramachandra. Others would see him as Lakshmi Narayana, and others want to see him as 4-handed Narayana Vasudeva. The Lord has innumerable forms, and he appears in a particular form as preferred by a particular type of devotee. The yogi is advised to meditate upon the forms that are approved by devotees. Yogi cannot imagine a form for meditation. Those so-called yogis who manufacture a circle or target, or engaged in nonsense. Actually, a yogi must meditate upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that has been experienced by the Lord's pure devotees. Yogi means devotee. Yogis who are not actually pure devotees should follow in the footsteps of devotees. So the whole idea is that those engaged in Bhakti Mishra Yoga should accept uh, one engaged in Yoga Mishra Bhakti as his guru. One engaged in Yoga Mishra Bhakti should accept uh, one who is engaged in Kevala Bhakti as his guru, and so on. So they should move up by seeking superior guidance. It is especially mentioned here that the yogi should meditate upon the form which is thus approved. He cannot manufacture a form of the Lord. Murte 30. यच्छ्रीनिकेतमदिभिः परिसेव्यमानं भूत्या स्वया कुटिलकुन्तलवृन्दजुष्टं मीनद्वयाश्रयमधिक्षिपदब्जनेत्रं ध्यायेन्मनोमयमतन्द्रित उल्लसद्भ्रू. The yogi then meditates. He should meditate. Meditate means he must meditate upon the beautiful face of the Lord, which is adorned with curly hair and decorated by lotus-like eyes and dancing eyebrows. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees and a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by its elegance. Here is that Abjanetram, second half. He's already come to the second half. Yachishriniketam Vadanaravintam Adibih Parishevyamanamapi Meenadvayashrayamapi Adhikshipa. That is here. A lotus surrounded by swarming bees. And a pair of swimming fish would be put to shame by the elegance of the lotus face of the Lord, which itself is the residence of Shri, fortune. Arsat, Aravindantaram Swaya Vibhutya Tiraskurvad Bhavati. All lotuses other than the lotus face of the Lord are criticized because of the intrinsic glorious features of the lotus face of the Lord. And one should meditate on that lotus face of the Lord. Tatra kutila kuntala vrindena alinam akshepaha. Here, kutila kuntala vrindajishtam, the multitude of curly hair that mocks at the bumblebees. Abja dalatulya netrabhyam meenadvayasya akshepaha. And the two eyes, which are like lotus petals, they mock at swimming fish in terms of beauty. Manomayam, meaning formed in the mind, has this meaning. Swamanasa tadatmyamiva swada adhikyat praptam ityartha. Seems to be the fantasy of a mind because of its excessive taste. Fantastic, as we would say. So bhakta vishya kripa dyotanad ullasantau bhruvau yatra tat. And the Supreme Lord's lotus face has shining eyebrows because they illuminate compassion upon his own devotees. One important statement here is dhyayen manomayam. Manomayam is not imagination. Personalists think that the yogi can imagine any form he likes. But as stated here, the yogi must meditate upon the form of the Lord, which is experienced by devotees. Devotees never imagine the form of the Lord. They are not satisfied by something imaginary. The Lord has different eternal forms. Each devotee likes a particular form and thus engages himself in the service of the Lord by worshipping that form. The Lord's form is depicted in different ways according to scriptures. As already discussed, there are 8 kinds of representations of the original form of the Lord. These representations can be produced by the use of clay, stone, wood, paint, sand, etc., depending upon the resources of the devotee. Manomayam is a carving of the form of the Lord within the mind. This is included as one of the 8 different carvings of the form of the Lord. It is not imagination. Meditation on the actual form of the Lord may be manifested in different manners, but one should not conclude that one has to imagine a form. So the whole idea is these forms of the Lord are well described in the scriptures so that we can meditate on them as they are described in the scriptures. Not like in today's world, somebody will simply say, my Krishna is purple. Who authorizes these people to imagine that Krishna is purple? It's not like that. There are 2 comparisons in this verse. First, the Lord's face is compared to a lotus, and then his black hair is compared to humming bees swarming around the lotus, and his 2 eyes are compared to 2 fish swimming above. But the lotus flower on the water is very beautiful when surrounded by humming bees and fish. The Lord's face is self-sufficient and complete. His beauty defies the natural beauty of a lotus. 31. तस्यावलोकमधिकं कृपयाति घोरतापत्रयोपशमनाय निसृष्टमक्ष्णोः स्निग्धस्मितानुगुणितं विपुलप्रसादं ध्यायेत् चिरं विपुलभावनया गुहायाम्. The yogi should contemplate with full devotion the compassionate glances frequently cast by the Lord's eyes, for they soothe the most fearful, threefold agonies of his devotees. His glances, accompanied by loving smiles, are full of abundant grace. Tasya harer avalokam dhyayet. One should meditate on the glance of Lord Hari. Akshnor, akshibhyam, nisrishtam, nirmita, dhyatuhu, ati ghoram yatapatrayam. Tasya upashamaya, snigdham yat smitam tadeva. One should meditate on the affectionate smile in order to pacify his meditator from experiencing the very terrible threefold miseries that smile is caused by his 2 beautiful eyes. Smitopalakshitam madhuryam anvanu gunitam prasamam tataha trigunita adikramena koti koti gunitam yatrutta. The sweetness of and the Lord is referred to here by referring to his smile. Here, snigdhasmita anugunitam. Anugunitam. Anugunitam means that the sweetness of the Lord is greater and greater in arithmetic progression. More and more and more sweet. As long as one is in conditional life, in the material body, it is natural that he will suffer from anxieties and agonies. One cannot avoid the influence of material energy even when one is on the transcendental plane. Sometimes disturbances come, but the agonies and anxieties of the devotees are at once mitigated when they think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His beautiful form or the smiling face of the Lord. The Lord bestows innumerable favors upon His devotee, and the greatest manifestation of His grace is a smiling face, which is full of compassion for His pure devotees. 32. हासं हरेरवनताखिललोकतीव्रशोकाश्रु सागरविशोषणमत्युदारम् सम्मोहनाय रचितं निजमाययास्य भ्रूमण्डलं मुनिकृते मकरध्वजस्य. A yogi should similarly meditate on the most benevolent smile of Lord Sri Hari, a smile which for all those who bowed to him dries away the ocean of tears caused by intense grief. The yogi should also meditate on the Lord's arched eyebrows, which are manifested by his internal potency in order to charm the sex god for the good of the sages. Hare Hasam Dhyaye. One should meditate on the laughter or smile, the smile of Lord Hari. Avanataha bhaktaha ye akhila loka tesham dasya sakhyadi bhavavatam tad viraha uttatva tivraha yaha shoka ashru sagaraha tam visheshena shoshayati iti tam ityudaram iti shoka sagara udhritya ananda sagare nimajjanam dadanam iti artha. The smile of the Lord, it specifically dries up the ocean of tears caused due to distress, intense distress that is born out of their loving separation from the Lord. Here we are talking about all those devotees of the Lord who are always bowed down to Him, who are always submissive to Him, the ones in Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, moods of service towards Him. Atyudaram. And that smile is described as a most benevolent smile because it takes them out of the ocean of distress and sinks them into the ocean of happiness. Yadva. Another meaning. Samsarika tivra dukkha shokashru sagara shoshanattvena hasasya samsara atita premananda ashru sagara vardhanatvam dhvanyate. That's a hint here that his smile, it dries up the ocean of tears born out of lamentation and intense distress that are part and parcel of material existence, the cycle of birth and rebirth. And it also increases the ocean of tears of joy due to pure love for the Lord, which is entirely beyond material existence itself. Tena chandratvepi adbhutatvam. Prasiddha chandra hi kshirodam ksharakam cha vardhayati. And in that sense, it is superior to, it is more wonderful than the moon. Because the moon that is well known, it brings about tidal waves in the milk ocean and in the salty ocean. Asya bhru mandalam jadhyayat. One should meditate on the eyebrows, arched eyebrows, as Prabhupada says here. Nijamaya sakapata nikshepena eva sarvamohanasya api makaradhvajasya sammohanaya rachitam prastuti kritam. And he specifically arches his eyebrows in order to bewilder Makaradhvaja. Makaradhvaja refers to Kamadeva. Kamadeva himself he brings about desire for conjugal activities, sexual activities amongst the entire universe. So even though Makaradhwaja or Kamadeva, he bewilders everyone by using his own powers of delusion and by uh, doing so in a deceitful manner. Still, the Lord, he arches his eyebrows in order to bewilder Kamadeva himself. ननु मकरध्वजं किम् इति मोहयेत् तत्र अहं मुनिकृते पत्राम्बुभोजनः तपस्यतः अपि मुनीन् अयम् उद्वेजयेत् इति कोपेन एव इति उत्प्रेक्षा. And he does this for whose sake? Munikrite, for the good of the sages. These sages, they are so austere that they only eat leaves and drink water. But this Makaradhwaja, this Kamadeva, he agitates even the sages. So as if in anger towards Kamadeva, the Lord arches his eyebrows in order to bewilder and attract him so that he doesn't disturb these sages. The entire universe is full of miseries, and therefore the inhabitants of this material universe are always shedding tears out of intense grief. There is a great ocean of water made from such tears. But for one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of God, the ocean of tears is at once dried up. One need only see the charming smile of the Supreme Lord. In other words, the bereavement of material existence immediately subsides when one sees the charming smile of the Lord. It is stated in this verse that the charming eyebrows of the Lord are so fascinating that they cause one to forget the charms of sense attraction. The conditioned souls are shackled to material existence because they are captivated by the charms of sense gratification, especially sex life. The sex god is called Makaradhwaja. The charming brows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect the sages and devotees from being charmed by material lust and sex attraction. Yamunacharya, a great Acharya, said that ever since he had seen the charming pastimes of the Lord, the charms of sex life had become abominable for him, and the mere thought of sex enjoyment would cause him to spit and turn his face. Thus, if anyone wants to be aloof from sex attraction, he must see the charming smile and fascinating eyebrows of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. ध्यानायनं प्रहिस्तं बहुलाधरोष्ठ भासारुणायिततनुद्विजकुन्दपङ्क्ति ध्यायेत् स्वदेहकुहरे वसितस्य विष्णोर् भक्त्यार्द्रय्यार्पितमना न पृथक् दृक्ष्येत्. With devotion steeped in love and affection, the yogi should meditate within the core of his heart upon the laughter of Lord Vishnu. The laughter of Vishnu is so captivating that it can be easily meditated upon. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds, rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Once devoting his mind to this, the yogi should no longer desire to see anything else. Prekshaniye ihitam dhyayet iti yuktam. It was stated that one should meditate on the activities of the Lord that are especially worth seeing. अतः क्वापि रहसि कुसुमतल्पम् अध्यासीनस्य स्वप्रेयसीम् अतिसौरभलोभेन श्रवणनयननासा मुखादि समीपम् अजहतः कस्यचित् भ्रमरस्य झङ्कारेण त्रस्तां शश्वद् भोज उत्क्षेप वसन ओन्नमन ग्रीवानयनादि चापल्यवतीं रसिकशेखर पादयोस्ते पतामि द्रष्टुम् इमं विद्रावय इति स काको व्याहरन्तीं पश्यतः शृणु भो भृङ्गाधिप इमामद्य मा जहीहि भुङ्क्ष्व इति निगततो भगवतः प्रहसितम् उच्चैर्हसितं ध्यायेत्. when the Lord is alone in a flower bed, sitting on a flower bed, then with his beloved goddess of fortune, then when a bee which is greedy for the excessive fragrance of the Lord, it comes near the Supreme Lord's ears, eyes, nose, face, and so on, and doesn't go away. And when the goddess of fortune is frightened by the humming of this bumblebee, and so at the time when she tells this bumblebee, "Oh, best of the relishers, I fall at your feet. I need to see my Lord. Please go away." So then at that time, the Supreme Lord, he tells this bumblebee, "O king of the bumblebees, please don't leave this place. Enjoy as much as you want." So when he says this and he laughs, one should meditate on this laughter of the Lord. Dhyanayanam prayatnam vina eva swayameva dhyanasya vishayi bhavishnuhu tatrapi madhuryamaha. This laughter of the Lord becomes the object of one's meditation without particular endeavor. There is a sweetness in it. Bahula adhara oshtha bhasa pranayita tanudvija kunda pankti bahulaya adhara osthasya bhasa arunibhuta tanavaha sukshma dvija eva kunda mukulani tesham pankti spurati yasminta. Okay, this is what it means. When the Supreme Lord is laughing, one can see his small teeth, which resemble jasmine buds rendered rosy by the splendor of his lips. Swadeha kuhare hridaya akashe avasitasya pratitasya naha asmat pratak no na asmat pratak vidrikshet rashtum na ichhe. The yogi should not desire to see anything but this when his mind is already meditating on Lord Vishnu, who resides within the core of his heart. Yatum na ichhe. One should not desire to know about anything else. Ityataha purushartha sarat anyasya adhikavastunaha asambhavat. That is because there is no purushartha superior to this greatest essence of all purusharthas, is direct experience of the Lord in pure devotion to Him. Bhaktanam etad aswad ananda moha eva paramaha samadhi iti bhava. So when the devotees of the Lord are totally bewildered in the ecstasy of relishing these features of the Lord, that itself is the supreme form of samadhi. That is implied here. Evam Navanga Bhaktehi Tritiyamangam Etad Bhagavat Avtara Guna Leela Madhuri Dhurinam Api Dhyanam Ashtanga Yoga Prasange Yaduptam Tat Khalu Yoga Maha Gahvara Yoginaha Api Akrishya Bhakti Rasa Sudharnave Nimajayitum Eva. So actually speaking, meditation, this meditation on the Supreme Personality of God, its incarnation, its quality, its pastime, sweetness, and so on. This is actually the third item in Navanga Bhakti. Despite that, it has been presented in detail. Not, it has been presented in detail while discussing Ashtanga Yoga. That is because even though the yogis are very much deep in their spiritual realizations, the idea is to attract them and immerse them and sink them, drown them into the ocean of the nectar of Bhakti Rasa. Drishyantecha, it is also seen, Parinishthitopi, Nairgunya, Uttama Shloka Leelaya, Grihita Cheta Raja Che Akhyana Yadhitavan, Bhagavatam 2.1.9. Shukadeva Goswami himself says, I was fully fixed on the platform of transcendence beyond the three modes of material nature. And then I studied this narration of Saintly King because my mind was attracted by the pastimes of the Lord who is described in choice poetry. Advaita Vithi Patikair Upasya Swananda Simhasana Labdha Diksha Hatena Kenapi Vayam Shatena Dasikrita Gopa Vadhu Vitena. Famous statement of Leela Shukla, Bellumangal Thakur, that we were previously going about on the pathway of non-dual meditation, impersonal meditation. And the Supreme Lord, He has made us into His maidservants forcefully and deceitfully. And He has made us accept Him, and He has prepared us to sit on the simhasana of the bliss that is directly coming from Him. Iti tataduktibihi mahayoginah api vayyasiki bilvamangala adeha mahatanugrahvashat bhakti raseva nimajjantah eva iti. So by statements such as this, even great yogis like the son of Vyasadeva, Bilvamangala, and so on, they, by the force of the blessings of great souls, they have drowned in Bhakti Rasa. Okay, there's a question here.
Prabhu, in purport to verse 29, when there are various forms of Lord mentioned about to meditate on, so there is one form of Lord Vasudeva where the Lord is alone without his consort. So we heard that Lord from Srila Prabhupada that Lord is never alone; He is always accompanied by his energies and devotees. So how these yogis are meditating on Lord alone?
No, that meditation is allowed for them in the initial stage. There are different stages of meditation. Meditation on Vasudeva is at an inferior stage. Then superior to it is meditation on Lakshmi Narayan. Superior to that is meditation on Lakshmi Narasimha. Superior to that is meditation on Sitaram. Superior to that is meditation on Rukmini Krishna, or Krishna with his queens. Then meditation of Krishna with the young gopis in Goloka Vrindavan. So like that, there are different stages. So meditation on Vasudeva is at one particular stage of meditation. It's just for meditation because you are not fit to meditate upon the Lord's relationship with His internal potency. Therefore, you should meditate like this. It is superior to meditation on it is like meditation on Paramatma, let's say like this.
Okay. And Prabhu, just one extension. One question was asked yesterday. One boy was asking that Radha Parth Sarthi, we have one DT in Delhi. He was asking, is it not Rasabhas like Srimati Radharani with Parth Sarthi feature of Lord?
This question was asked, Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada this, and Prabhupada said, but Radharani is always there. She is not manifested everywhere, but she's always there. She's always there.
She's always there with Krishna.
Not always manifest, but she is there. She is the Lord's internal potency. Just as the moonlight is always present with the moon.
Okay.
So
Okay,
in that
bro.
sense, in that sense. Okay, purport. It is recommended that the yogi visualize the laughter of the Lord after studying his smile very carefully. These particular descriptions of meditation on the smile, laughter, face, lips, and teeth all indicate conclusively that God is not impersonal. It is described herein that one should meditate on the laughter or smiling of Vishnu. There is no other activity that can completely cleanse the heart of the devotee. The exceptional beauty of the laughter of Lord Vishnu is that when he smiles, his small teeth, which resemble the buds of jasmine flowers, at once become reddish, reflecting his rosy lips. If the yogi is able to face the beautiful face of the Lord in the core of his heart, he will be completely satisfied. In other words, when one is absorbed in seeing the beauty of the Lord within himself, the material attraction can no longer disturb him. 34. एवं हरौ भगवती प्रतिलब्ध भावो भक्त्या द्रवधृदय उत्पुलकः प्रमोदात् औत्कण्ठ्य बाष्पकलयां पुरर्द्यमानस्तच्चापि चित्तबडिशं शनकैर्वियुक्ते. By following this course, the yogi gradually develops pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. In the course of his progress in devotional service, the hairs on his body stand erect through excessive joy, and he is constantly bathed in a stream of tears occasioned by intense love. Gradually, even the mind, which he used as a means to attract the Lord, as one attracts a fish to a hook, withdraws from material activity. This is a long explanation. What should we do? I'll simply read a little bit until we reach 9 o'clock. यस्तु अतिमन्दः महत् अनुगृहीतः एतामपि ध्यानमाधुरीम् उपभुज्य अपि अलब्ध आस्वादनिष्ठः जिहासति. Now that person who is extremely dull and who has not received the mercy of the exalted souls, despite relishing the sweetness of even this form of meditation, he is not fixed in, he has not attained steadiness in relishing this, the sweetness of this meditation, and therefore he gives it up. Satu yogi, yoga eva praptanishthah api, yogishu atinikrishta eva, bhakti rasa vanchita eva. But that yogi, even though he has attained steadiness in the practice of yoga, he is amongst the very he is amongst the most lowly categories of yogis. He has been deprived of the rasa of bhakti. Bhaktya eva diyamanam ekavimshati prakara dukkhanasha purvaka pratyek atma anubhava atmakam moksham prapnoti natu brahma anubhava atmakam moksham ityaha. In other words, he attains liberation in the form of realization of himself. realization of himself as distinct from matter after the destruction of 21 types of distress. And that liberation is actually given by bhakti. He does not attain liberation in the form of the experience of the impersonal Brahman. Evam ityadi yavad adhyaya samapti. This is conveyed in this chapter. This is conveyed from this verse up to the end of this chapter. Okay, there's a question here.
Prabhu, as a follow-up to the previous question, I was thinking that someone may say that like as we don't tell Radha and Rama, because although they are all one tattva, Krishna, Rama, but when with Rama we say Sita Ram, so will the same consideration not come when we are saying Radha Krishna and then Rukmini Dwarkadhish or Radha Path Sarthi when we are saying so?
See, Parthasarthi does not consort with any, does not, in his pastime as a charioteer of Arjuna, he does not accept explicitly any consort with Rama.
Yes.
That is the case. With
Hmm.
Dwarakadhish also, that is the case. But as Parthasarthi, he does not. And Prabhupada, it appears that Prabhupada wanted to stress that don't think that Radharani is out of the scene. So it should be understood rather in a very general sense, rather than as Radharani in particular. It appears to me like, because he was asked this, specifically was asked about this. And this is how he said. He said, no, internal potency is always there. Krishna is always thinking about his internal potency.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's stop with that. We'll resume in the next session. On Shakal Putra Vyashya Kripasan Dukya Vacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnebhyo Namo.